Now we're going to paint a king salmon or Chinook salmon. This will also work for your other salmon, like your silver salmon, your coho salmon, and it'll even work on some of your other ones. Pretty much what differs is the anatomical difference of the fish itself, depending on what stage of the spawn it's in and how much red it's got because of that. That's pretty much the main difference between a lot of the salmons, except like your chum salmon, as it's mostly called. It tends to be more of an olive green color throughout. First thing you want to do is seal the fish with a couple of coats of Basecoat Sealer to add a little bit of extra shine. I'm going to put a couple of good heavy coats on here. I can tell this is a king salmon basically by the spots on the tail. I know the Atlantic salmon has it, but the body shape of the fish in general is built more like a king salmon. So I'm pretty sure it's a king salmon. Probably about 12, 13 pounds, somewhere in that range. Yeah, the body shape seems to be a little different. Not quite as narrow and as long as like the Atlantic salmon is. And there was kind of a pinkish stripe down the side of it, but it's no longer really visible anymore, maybe just slightly. So, yep, it's definitely a king salmon. I'm going to go ahead and go over all my marks with a Sharpie pen. Because, I mean, if I can get them to show, if I can put my colors on light enough, you're mimicking Mother Nature. It's going to look pretty good. I guess I could do like a tinning method, but I'm kind of wanting a little bit of the best of both worlds. I want a good white fish, but I also want to use some of the natural markings if I can. You can be pretty quick with it depending on how fast you go. You don't even have to necessarily paint the fish completely white. You can bring the white up fade out about halfway up the fish, because the other colors will eventually cover up a lot of the dead look. So, but I'm going to make it slightly white just for a good bright fish, but that's me personally. But yeah, you can use if you want your spots to kind of fade through so you can put them on as one of the last things you do, feel free to go ahead and do it. And I just use a good old Sharpie pen. You can use a Sharpie pen to put your spots back in. I mean, you don't have to use an airbrush. I've done it before on my rainbow trout. They're pretty strong, they're not faded out or anything, but still looks good. Yeah, here's what the spotting looks like on the back. I'm almost done. I'm going to go ahead and do the fins, and I'll show you what I do next. I can see the marks, but here again, some of them are connected. Some of them kind of go up the fin ray. Sometimes they connect. They're like lines almost. You can kind of see the spots anyway. You can see they're almost like lines. And it's going to be relatively dark anyway. Like I do on a black crappie, or a red eye or anything. Kind of the lines going through, it's kind of the same deal. Just gonna ad-lib some in. I see them actually. Especially here on the end, I can see them. I don't think they go all the way to the end, per se. You might want to incorporate the way it looks on a rainbow trout. Looks like it does continue all the way down. Then the next one. Uniformly and realistic as you can. Probably leave it bare and nobody'd even really care. But I do see them. Got the spots on the head. They kind of end out about where the, I guess you could say, the bony part of the top of the head, which would be about right in here. That's about as far as the spots tend to go. They look like little, like parts of scales, and some are going forward, some are backwards. That's good enough for me. Plus we're gonna darken in the back. Top of the head's gonna get dark anyway. Not sure if you can see it, but I can still see a little bit of the pink line that was showing through it. White. And we're gonna whiten the whole fish, but a lot stronger on the belly. And I'm basically covering the whole fish with it. Definitely heavier at the bottom. Lighter as you go up. May have to go a little bit harder with the white to cover up some of that Bondo color. But and make sure you get the belly real good. Got white pearl. And I like going on the belly with this color. Get the lower jaw good with it. I use it on my bass and use it on everything. Make sure the fish has a good coat of pearl on it. Now I've got the silver metallic. Making a reflective base, you can put pearl over this and really, I'm not getting the belly. but I'm staying just above the pectorals. You know, you can see where the belly starts to crest in, and I kind of make a stopping point, and it's vaguely noticeable. Go as slow as you need to go so you don't put it on too heavy. But it's super metallic, so keep that in mind. Got to be very sparingly with this. I'm staying off the lower jaw. And that's about what I want. If I made a mistake and I think I went too heavy with it, I can always lighten it back up with white or maybe more white pearl back over it. Staying off the lower jaw. I can definitely see a shading. That's what I want right there. Okay, now I've got silver pearl. I think it accentuates the silver metallic between the medium and light coat. And you can lightly pearl the fins with it. I think I've already got white pearl on there, which is good enough. But I'll show you what we do next. Clean it off with a Q-tip and lacquer thinner. The Q-tip can't get down in there. Use an X-Acto knife and scrape it off. It comes right off. You know, if you feel like you need to maximize your eye size, then feel free to go as far as you can. Sometimes you can't do it with a Q-tip. I don't know if I remember on my other videos, but I had a 3-part color. I was using Paynes gray, medium green, diver gray. And I was coming up with a color that you didn't know whether it was green or blue or gray or a mixture of all three. And that's kind of what I'm trying to achieve for the back. And I want to fade it down almost where the spots end, but not quite. I want to go down just slightly more than halfway, just slightly more than halfway between the top of the fish and the lateral line. Slightly more than halfway, depending on the size of the fish. Paynes gray between the medium and a light coat. And it takes very little green to get what you're looking for. So I would say probably about a medium coat. Right before the gills start is where I would shut off as far as, and before the lower jaw starts. Over with green, and we're going to green it up a little bit. So I'm going to readjust the fish. It's about the right color anyway. I mean, it looks like you see little traces of green in it. Fins also get it too. And fade out a little over halfway before you reach the lateral line. Find that halfway mark and you should be good. Okay, now I've got medium green. We don't want to kill the blue out. Just like I do on my stripe or my rockfish. Blend the two and kind of like make its own color. Might be able to mix it in the bowl in your airbrush, maybe half and half. You might want to experiment with it. I got used to painting in layers. So you just kind of want to change the value of it. And the medium green is pretty opaque, probably more so than the Paynes gray. And you also want to go over your ends with a light coat. Everywhere you put the Paynes gray. And we get the top of the head and everything with it. Plus we still got to put a darker color over the top of it to blend it in better. This has an opacity to it. Basically what we're doing, we're toning that blue, change the value of it. I guess that's the right way to put it. Look at it and see green and blue both. Not sure if you can see it, but I got the back with it. Just kind of changed the value of the blue, made it a little bit more of a green. Or a green blue, as they say. I've got bronze metallic, and I just see hints of this color, so I just kind of wanted to put it in. See it along the back a little bit. And you also want to lightly on the fin rays. Yeah, you just want to be able to get a hint of it. Metallic, and all the little particles will reflect. You can get all your pins with a very light coat of it. More so at the base. Sailfish blue behind the eye. The red's are going to start before you get to the lighter line. So about in between here and here, right where the mark stopped, I'm going to put a light misting of blue. And it's strong, it's pretty strong. I can see it already. Probably can't see it right now because of the glare. but when it gets glossed, it'll show an inch above the lateral line and about an inch below. Most of the upper cheek and the face, I see it. So now, if I went ahead and just put my, darken my marks in, and angle sprayed my fins with black and darkened the back up, about an inch below the lateral line, and left it just like it was right now, I'd be done. And it would represent, like say, the silver salmon before they start spawning and getting the red on them. They basically have a lot of these colors. But I remember there was a red stripe on this fish, so I'm going to go ahead and put that red stripe back in it. Got Gill red, and about like you do a rainbow trout, you just want to be able to see it. And you can see where it's hitting the blue, it's making violet. So that's neat. We'll get some on the gills. A lot of times there isn't much on the gills. Lower jaw's got just a hint of it. Angle, you can see a little bit better what's going on. But 3/4 of an inch above the lateral line, about 3/4 of an inch below the lateral line. Misted in a red stripe, and I faded it out before you get to the tail. I tapered it off to the lateral line where it's at in the stage of the spawn. This is not like a full spawning one. Let your fish be your guide. Always use a good reference picture. Even the blue strip that's above the red stripe, try to find a good reference picture that shows that. And so it makes it, a little bit easier for you to put it back in. Now comes the lengthy part of putting the spots in. I can still see the ones that I originally put in. You could probably use a marking pen, but the only thing is they're going to look so loud compared to your paints that it looks okay, but I'm going to opt to go ahead and just use black-green. Put my spots in and darken my back. Now here's what I got so far. It's a little bit humid outside, so I figured I'd start getting water in the line, so I made sure I got the most crucial spots first, the ones down in the lower part of the body. But I'll keep doing this and I'll show you what I've got. Making progress. Well, here's what I've got so far. All I got to do is put the spots on the fins, and I'll show you what we do next. See, now I've got my black green. Highlight the rays on my fins, in other words. So they're coming out. At the very top of the back. And I don't want to kill out on my spots. That defeats the purpose of putting them in. But I do want to tone the back down, give it a little bit of shade, top of the head. I'm going to fade the black out about 2 inches below the top of the back. You want it completely faded out. When it darkest on top, fading out before you get to the blue, in other words. But I'm going to keep toning it in. Okay, now I've got black, and mainly get just the top of the back with this spray. The very top of the head, that's more like it. A good color for the back of the fins, obviously. You can see the paint growing on. We just want this coat. We don't want to get down into the blue and all that. We want it to fade out about an inch down. We don't even want to cover these marks up completely. I'm going to make a couple more passes along the back and I'll show you what I've got. Okay, this is what we got so far. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the other fins now. Fade out about, before you get to the blue, you don't want to fade out the green that's above the blue streak we put in. I mean, halfway in between the top of the back and the lateral line. And notice on the head, I kept most of the darkness right up on top. You know, a lot of them, they got that hook beak-like nose. And then a lot of times it's dark up to the very end and there's like yellow ochre on the end of it. An extreme angle. Extreme angle, just bring those rays out. It's not wrong to have these fins, you know, a little bit dark. You know, the main thing is bringing out those scale details. I don't know if you noticed, but when I angle sprayed, I can even see little blemishes and stuff. And I've got my black. Bring some of them in. But like right in here, I see them. Just like little blotches, you know. You know. It's not wrong to really, I guess, put them in. Probably depends on, you know, where the fish is at in the spawn. It's not wrong to put a little bit of darkness to the fish. You know, just ever so lightly, of course. This is black, so. maybe in a couple frontal angle shots. Make sure you have a good reference. And the maxillary definitely gets it. You see yellows and bronzes and stuff like that in there as well. So it's definitely in there. The jaw right here gets it. Well, here's what I've got on the head so far. Kind of angle sprayed from the front. Tried to bring out some of these rays down, gill rakers. Tried to, highlight some of those. And it's good if it's supposed to be kind of dark anyway. And since we're going to use white and highlight in there, it's good for it to be dark because that means that it'll bring out our facial detail when we put the white around the maxillary. And we put white down in the grooves. But the inside of the mouth of some of these fish are like really dark. They almost look like they got hints of blue in it, like Paynes gray. Like maybe Paynes gray put on real hard would be maybe a better option. It's just like really black. Paynes gray, you could like mist a little black and put Paynes gray over it. It would be totally accurate. Going over the inside of the mouth with Paynes gray. Oh, this is actually more accurate. The Paynes gray over a light coat of black. I think that's what you want, man. A lot missing the black and then Paynes gray over it, and it looks really cool. Got Sienna, and I've got it thinned down. It's a really nice color. It's a good color to change this overall pinkish look of my stripe. Change the pinkish stripe into more of a kind of a but I'm putting it on so light that it's barely noticeable. Even the cheek areas. I think there's a little bit of red right down there on the lower jaw, I think. Little fleshy areas. It kind of works. It gives kind of a fleshy appearance for like some of these fins. You can see it on the belly a little bit. Just a hint of it. Even right in here, I see it. But if you see it, it can't be wrong to put it in there. I definitely want this stripe to stay pronounced. But I do see this. I do see this color. Yeah, just wanted to kind of give a little bit of an orange tone because I see it in a lot of my references. Just right down there. On bronze again, I just want to bring out some fin rays close to the body. Actually, toward the outer edge, they come out pretty good. Just, just lighten it up just a little. And touch the head up a little bit more. This maxilla is the main thing. Into the nose right here. Yeah, I really like that very slight sienna color along the belly, the throat area. You know, the very bottom part, a little bit of sienna looks pretty good. Now I've got reference pictures that show a lot more red on the fish, depending on the time of year. There's a lot more of that sienna color, and the way it's put on, there's not really even a stripe present. And I know it's normal for them to have that stripe, you know, right when they start turning. They could be almost completely red and still be right. Little streaky marks coming up, looks like from the bottom, and they go up pretty high. They go up towards the top of the back. But I just wanted to fill that in and let you know that. Now I've got white, and I'm going to outline all the details that are in the face, you know, all the grooves like around the cheek, the gill rakers where they're indented in. I'm going to whiten that up. I'm going to go around the maxillary, and I'm going to whiten the teeth. We're going to go ahead and whiten the teeth. I want to do it at an angle that's... I may have to re-darken my tongue up. Usually it's just black anyway, so. Okay, that's correct. Did that on all your fins? Okay, we're doing white on the leading edges of the fins. It's definitely in the reference pictures. Not the dorsal. I wouldn't even worry about the dorsal because we had to darken it up already. Basically, a smaller bite as you approach the end of the tail, smaller bite. You don't have to do this. You know, the end of the tail. It's a very outer extremity. Going back to my Sienna. And I want to put some inside the fin area. And I don't want to kill the white out completely, but I want to give it a tint of that burnt sienna. Because I got it on the belly and stuff anyway. And it's correct to just do it like that. And I could even shade it with a little black, which I think is what I'm going to do. See how I kind of tone that in? Probably can't even tell it, but I'm off in the color a little bit. You know, I'm not putting it on harsh, but just enough to give it a slight fleshy look. I mean, I got it on the fins anyway. And I've also got it on the belly a little bit. The breast area, because I see it just a slight hinge of it. You know, I'm not killing the white out completely, just it's just there, just a little bit, you know. Now, if your individual fish, if the lower jaw, if you feel like it's too dark or something, feel free to whiten it back up. A lot of them have, their lower jaws are white. But, you know, later during the spawn, they start darkening up. See, now I've got my black again. I'm going to attempt the angle spray, and I'm going to try to bring out some stuff if I can. Bright contrasting colors, I guess is the right word. So I want to kind of tone down everything if I can. Yeah, just want to tone down some stuff on there. And also, you know, these leading edges of these fins that I painted, they look pretty good. They stand alone pretty good. Okay, yeah, I'm just blending in the... I don't want them sticking out too bad. I mean, they match pretty good though. Just hit it a couple times, bring out, kind of make it blend in a little better. You probably don't even have to do that because from what I've seen, some of those spots are even right up here on top. Also, we had a little bit of overspray from the white. Feel free to go back, touch up, and card and whatever you got to do to darken the inside of your mouth up. Now we clean the eyes off with Q-tip and lacquer thinner. I've got gloss top coat, and we gloss the fish. If you got gills on your fish, go ahead and paint them red, gill red. But this is how I paint a salmon, in this case a king salmon. I'm going to attempt to darken the fish up a little bit. He's still too bright for me. I'm going to keep the bronze right there in the cheek a little bit. But I'm going to bring out some more red down here. Maybe darken the back more. The fins, these right here a lot of times are so black you can't really notice it. It depends on your individual fish. But I'm going to blacken these up right here, these leading edges that I painted white. Sometimes they do have that, but I'm going to go ahead and just darken it up like a fish they tend to be dark anyway. And the heads are like really dark. But I'm just going to fix it up a little bit more using my black. And I may even lighten some stuff up. I may try to incorporate a little bit of... a little bit more silver metallic, maybe a little bit more bronze. I may use more black on the back, or I might even gray things up a little bit. Use a little bit of gray. You know, sometimes there's like a milky look. Like I'm just going to try to straighten it up and make it look more like my pictures that I've seen. Yeah, what I'm going to attempt to do is... I've lightened the cheek up and I had a little bit too much color right in here, I thought. And, you know, I may reincorporate some more bronze in. You know, just get hints of bronze every now and then. And I'm going to put more silver metallic. Maybe in here. I see kind of that grayish, I guess you could say, silver metallic color. And so I'm going to incorporate that stuff. I'm definitely going to darken the face up around the lips and stuff. I've got Sienna again. And, yeah, I'm going to carry along the stripe we put in earlier. And it's correct. It's correct to have that on there. But I'm also going to incorporate it down here. I mean, if it shows, I'm going to put it in there, so. Well, as you can see, I added a little bit more sienna along the belly line down at the bottom and carried it through the midsection as well also. But it shows in my references, and it's taken on a little bit more of some of the spawning phase type color with the sienna in it. You know, they definitely have a little bit of the silver in it. And I see my silver or it's probably a little bit of black involved too, but right here on the side, the mottled appearance, no, silver is pretty strong. But I'll show you what we do next. Now I've got medium green, and I'm going to dress up the cheek a little bit in certain areas, and I'm going to look at my reference and I'll show you what I come up with, maybe even a little bit along the body. Okay, now I've got Paynes gray, and you can see where I touched the face up with medium green a little bit. But now I've got Paynes gray, and I'm going to go over my medium green, try to tone it in. Paynes gray may have been actually a better color, but I did see hints of medium green anyway. Now Paynes gray is good standalone color anyway. It's pretty dark. A lot of people use it just to darken their backs, and they're done with it. So I'm going to make a few passes over my back with it, and leave it at that. For what I see in my pictures, in other words, is a lot of Paynes gray in the face and along the back and on the fins even. Definitely in the mouth. Okay, now I've got a little bronze. I see hints of it, and you're kind of held hostage to whatever your reference material shows. A lot of times you can't beat live reference, but we all don't have that luxury. But I just want to put it's a strong color, and it comes out more if you gloss the fish. But I just want to put it on the face. The cheek area, I see it. The lower cheek area. I see a little bit on the side of the body. We put it in earlier, I'm just kind of putting it back in. Maybe a little bit on the back. Couple of passes, like a little hints of bronze, but I'll show you what we do next. Okay, now I've got black green. In actuality, I've been using it a little bit already, but I see a little bit of olive appearance on the side of the fish, along with a lot of darkness. I'm going back with black, but I used some black green to angle spray to bring out some of the scales. You can see kind of like rows of scales that kind of go up this way. So I kind of brought out some of those with the black green. I hit the top of the head mainly. Some of the face. We're going to darken the gum line up a little bit more. Probably maybe use Paynes gray for that. But way the lateral line is going to show a little bit, and I see it in my reference pictures. Yeah, I'm going to darken the fish up a little bit. I've got black. And I'm going to kind of darken the lower belly area. And depending on your fish and where it's caught, you'll see little blotchy marks. You may have stand back at a distance, put some little, to make them the way you want them to show. I see like little blotchy marks. And you might as well take the time to do them right and bring them in. And I went ahead and went over the back, and I angle sprayed. It brought out the fins or the scales a little bit. It darkened the back a little bit more. It's generally a darker fish, but it's more like what you will see on a fish that's just entering freshwater, and may not even really exhibit a lot of the colors yet, although it is with the Sienna. I'm gonna come down. Seems like some of it originates at the lateral line even. I've seen that a little bit. They're not too distinct, obviously. And sometimes the fins are so black that this is not all that noticeable, although it is noticeable. But a lot of times they are like super black, and it's not all that noticeable. Although it's not wrong to have that little bit of fleshy look. Okay, I've still got my black. What I'm gonna do, darken my gum line, and I'll go back and touch the teeth up. But that's one thing that differentiates a king salmon from most of the others. Is the dark gum line. The teeth are white still, but the gum line is dark. And it's not a bad idea to use a brush to go back and lighten the teeth up. Gotta have good control with your airbrush. Looks pretty good. It's about what I'm after right there. And sometimes it's real easy on these bigger fish to not apply enough color that you need to. So I went back and applied more color to bring out more of the more spawning type color to my fish. And one characteristic of the salmon is, the dark head. So I'm applying black to the face, which is typical of a salmon. Now it's not wrong, I'm going to go back and touch that over white again later. But it is not wrong to put this, to make the outer extremity black like that. Some fish of these outer things show, and I did let it show a little bit on the bottom ones, but I'm going to go ahead and trim all the fins in black and then put a little bit of white on the end of it, and it'll be correct. Okay, got my black again, and just like I said I was going to do. I'm going to bring in the outer edges with black. Because it shows that way. Draw your fins that way. Lighting has a lot to do with all this. Okay, darken the edges of the outer fins, as you can see. And now I'm going to put like a little bit of trace back in this outer extremity here, if you want to. It doesn't always show that much, but I see it sometimes. Okay, now I've got my white again. Now these sometimes show on the outer edges, so you can bring them back out if you want to. But I'm even going to tone that white in just a little bit with more black. Oh, while you got your white, go ahead and do your teeth. Okay, I toned it down. You can still see it, but I put a little bit of black on the ends of it. Tone down my white a little bit. I'm going to do my teeth. I went ahead and got a little white and whitened up the teeth and went around my maxillary and my cheeks again, down in the grooves, and we're going to clean the eye off. Okay, now this fish definitely has a lot more black to it than it did before, and a lot more of the sienna reddish color. And this is more of an accurate representation of one that's in the spawn, as opposed to like a pre-spawn mode. The black face, which is typical of the king salmon, the black gums. And you can also see those like little wavy marks that are down and through the middle of it, which is typical. I see that on the fish. Now sometimes it doesn't hurt to, sometimes to replicate that milky look that's on the fish. A person can stand from a distance and mist white all over their fish, which I did. And sometimes it gives that milky slime coat look that the fish have. Now we're going to gloss the fish. It's amazing what you'll see. What will come out in the fish that didn't come out that you could see beforehand. I've got just the Minwax polyurethane gloss, but it has so much depth producing capabilities that a lot of times it beats some of these other glosses out there. But they've got some good stuff at the taxidermy supply companies. Got some good stuff. Yeah, this is a dark fish, but they are dark. A lot of them are. Especially on the head. And sorry about the glare, but this is how I paint a king salmon.